Rian opened his eyes slowly. Cold air touched his face. He felt the ground under him, dry leaves, broken sticks, and soft dust. For a moment, he did not know where he was. He did not know how he came here. He only knew one thing: his name. Rian. He sat up and looked around. Tall trees reached high into the sky like silent giants. A strange silver mist moved between them. The forest was quiet, but not peaceful. It felt like someone was watching him, or maybe many eyes were watching him. He tried to remember anything: his home, his past, his family, but his mind was blank. Empty like a wiped screen. Only his heartbeat felt real. Only his name answered him. Rian stood and took a slow breath. The air tasted different, sharp and metallic. Not like the air he remembered, if he even remembered anything at all. He took one step forward, then another. With each step, the forest grew stranger. Plants glowed softly with blue light. Roots curled like moving snakes. He touched a tree and it hummed under his fingers. This place was not Earth. He was sure of that. Far away, he heard drums, low and heavy. Like something big was calling him. The sound came again, then again. His heart followed the rhythm even when he tried to ignore it. Something inside him whispered, "Go." Rian walked toward the sound. Branches cracked under his feet, leaves rustled behind him. But whenever he turned, he saw nothing, only shadows shifting between the trees. The feeling of being watched grew stronger. He kept moving. He told himself he was not afraid. But fear moved with him, quiet, cold, close to his spine. A sudden wind pushed through the forest. The mist tore apart and showed a wide path. He was surprised. The path felt like it was waiting for him, made for him, guiding him. Rian followed it, his steps slow, careful. The drums grew louder, and now there were voices too. Deep voices, angry voices, voices that did not sound human. He stopped for a moment. Should he turn back? Should he hide? But something inside him said no. He had to keep going, even if he did not know why. The path opened into a small clearing. Rian saw broken stones, old bones, strange marks in the dirt. Like something dangerous lived here long ago, or maybe still lived here. He knelt down and touched the ground. It was warm, too warm. Almost like something under the earth was alive, or awake. Suddenly, the ground shook. Only for a second, but enough to make Rian stand quickly. The drums stopped. The forest fell silent. Even the wind froze. Then he heard it, a whisper, soft but clear. A voice close to his ear, though no one was beside him. Human. Rian spun around. His heart raced, but the clearing was empty. No one stood there. No shadow, no figure. Only the whisper echoing in his head. He stepped backward slowly. Then he saw something glowing near the trees. A symbol carved into the bark. A swirling mark shaped like an eye. He did not know how he knew it, but the symbol was important, dangerous sand connected to him. The whisper came again. Come. Rian clenched his fists. He did not understand this world. He did not understand the danger. But he felt a strange strength inside him, like his body remembered something his mind did not. He moved toward the glowing symbol. The forest opened again, as if obeying his presence. Then he saw smoke rising in the distance, tall wooden towers, torches, and a huge gate made of bone and metal. A village, but not a peaceful one. A warrior village. The drums began again. But now they sounded like a warning. Rian felt every beat shaking inside his chest. And yet he kept walking, almost like he was being pulled forward. When he reached the edge of the trees, he stopped. The village stood before him wild. Strong, ancient warriors moved on the walls, holding spears and strange weapons, their eyes locked on him. Their hands tightened on their weapons. Rian felt the air change, heavy, dangerous. Like the moment before a storm breaks, he stepped forward anyway. One step into their world, one step into their fate. One step into whatever he had truly come here to face. And the moment he did, the warriors raised their spears. A loud horn echoed through the sky, and all eyes were fixed on the lost stranger. Rian did not know them, but they seemed to know him. The story of fear, destiny, and hidden power had just begun. Rian stood at the edge of the strange village. The giant Bonan metal gate towered above him like the open mouth of a monster. Warriors lined the walls, holding sharp spears that glowed faint blue. Their eyes were hard, focused, not friendly at all. A deep voice shouted from the watchtower, "Human, do not move." Rian stopped. He could feel their fear. Or maybe their anger, he was not sure. But he knew this moment was important. One wrong step, and they would attack. The warriors whispered among themselves. Some pointed at him. Others shook their heads like they did not believe what they were seeing. One of them said loudly, "It is him, the lost one from the prophecy." Rian frowned. A prophecy? About him. He didn't even know who he was beyond his name. The gate creaked open slowly, a heavy sound. Like old metal waking from deep sleep, behind the gate, more warriors appeared. Bigger, stronger, wearing thick armor made of bones. Their steps made the ground tremble. Rian felt like the whole village was breathing in at the same time. Waiting, watching, expecting something from him. He took a small step forward, and every spear tilted slightly toward him. One more step and they would throw. He could see it in their eyes. A tall warrior walked out from the gate. He was different from the others, older. Scarred, more dangerous, his armor was black and heavy. On his chest was the same glowing symbol Rian saw in the forest, the eye-shaped mark. The warrior looked at Rian for a long moment, then spoke. "You should not be here." Human Rian replied softly, "I don't know why I am here. But I am lost." The warrior narrowed his eyes, lost. He stepped closer. No human enters our land by accident. Rian felt something shift in the air. The warriors around him tightened their grip on their weapons. The forest behind him seemed to close like a door. He had no path back, only forward. The tall warrior turned to his men. "Hold your positions." Then he looked at Rian again. "If you are truly the one from the old story, you will survive what comes next." Before Rian could ask anything, a loud horn blasted across the village. All warriors snapped into formation. The tall warrior raised his hand. "Test him," he ordered. The air froze. Rian felt the danger rising like a wave from the walls. A dozen spears lifted. Their tips glowed brighter. The warriors took aim at him. Rian's heartbeat slowed. His muscles tightened. He did not know why. He did not understand how, but his body felt ready. Like this moment had happened before. The tall warrior shouted, "Now!" The sky filled with flying spears. 12 deadly weapons cutting the air toward him, fast, sharp. Impossible to escape, but something inside Rian awakened. A power hidden deep, a reflex older than memory. His body moved before his mind could think. He stepped left, dropped low, twisted, leaped back. Every motion, perfect, smooth, fast. The spears missed him by inches. One broke a stone behind him. Another cut the air past his ear, in only a heartbeat. All 12 spears were on the ground. None touched him. The warriors stared in shock. Some stepped back. Others whispered, "The prophecy. It is real. The human is chosen." He dodged them all. Rian himself was surprised. He had moved like lightning. Like he had trained his whole life, but he remembered nothing of such training. The tall warrior's expression changed, from anger to respect, and maybe fear. He stepped forward and spoke with a deep voice. "You are not just a lost stranger. You are the one we have waited for. Rian shook his head. I don't understand. What prophecy? Why me? The warrior did not answer. He simply turned and gestured toward the open gate. Enter the village, he said. Your true test begins inside. Rian looked at the gate, at the warriors. At the strange world that now claimed he had a destiny. He felt confused, scared, but also pulled forward again by some invisible force. He stepped into the village. The gate closed behind him with a heavy slam, cutting off the forest, cutting off the life he once knew, inside the village. Drums began to beat, slow, strong, like a heartbeat of the land itself. Every villager watched Rian with wide eyes, some with hope, some with fear, some with disbelief. Rian walked deeper inside, knowing one thing, whatever waited for him. It was only the beginning. The village felt alive the moment Rian stepped inside. Torches flickered on tall wooden poles. Warrior children stopped playing and stared. Mothers pulled their young ones close. Old men whispered prayers under their breath. Rian walked slowly. Every step echoed through the ground. It felt like the whole village was holding its breath, waiting to see what he would do next. The tall warrior, the one who had spoken at the gate, walked beside him in silence. Rian tried to read his face, but it was as hard as stone. No emotion, no fear, no kindness. Only duty. Finally, the tall warrior spoke. My name is Kor. He did not look at Rian as he talked. You dodged the first test. But there is more to prove. Rian frowned. Why am I being tested? I don't even know who I am. Kor stopped walking. He turned his head slightly. You will know when the village accepts you. Then he continued forward. Rian felt frustration boiling inside. But he followed. He had no choice. The gate was closed. The forest behind him felt even more dangerous as they reached the center of the village. Rian saw a large, open training ground. The earth was dark and cracked. Large stones stood like ancient statues. Deep scars cut into the ground from old battles. Dozens of warriors stood in a wide circle, each wearing heavy bone armor, each holding a glowing spear. Their eyes locked on Rian the moment he appeared. Kor raised his voice. Warriors? The stranger has passed the first trial. Murmurs spread through the group. But now comes the real test. Rian felt the air tighten, like the air before a storm. Kor stepped into the circle. He pointed at Rian. You will stand alone. Then he pointed at the warriors. They will strike. Rian blinked. Strike. With what? He barely finished speaking when the warriors lifted their spears and the ground vibrated from their power. Kor said one last thing. If you are truly the human from the prophecy, you will live. Before Rian could ask anything, the first spear flew, so fast it blurred through the air. Rian's body reacted on its own. He bent backward. The spear cut past his nose. He could feel the wind from it. Another spear came, then another. Soon 20 spears were flying at him from all directions. The villagers gasped. Even the warriors paused their breath. Nobody survived this test, not in the last 500 years. But Rian moved like he was born for this. He dropped, rolled, jumped, twisted. Every motion perfect, every dodge smooth and fast. His body remembered this dance. Even if his mind did not, he leaped over a spear. He slid under another. He turned sideways, letting one fly past his back. He caught a glimpse of his reflection in a metal shield. His eyes were glowing faint blue, just like the warriors' weapons. The attacks grew faster. Spears filled the sky. Rian felt his heartbeat slow again. Time around him seemed to stretch. Every movement became clear, predictable, easy. He stepped aside before one spear even left the warrior's hand. He ducked before another warrior aimed. It was like he could feel their intentions, like he knew the future seconds before it happened. when the last spear struck the dirt beside him. The training ground fell silent. Dust floated in the air. Spears lay broken on the ground. Not one touched him. Rian stood in the center. Breathing hard but standing strong, his fists clenched, his eyes glowing. His body alive with strange energy. The warriors stared at him, their faces filled with shock and fear. One of them whispered, "It's impossible. No one can dodge the storm ritual." Another warrior spoke louder. "He is the prophecy, the one who outruns the sky." Kor stepped forward for the first time. Emotion flickered in his eyes, a look of respect and worry. He bowed his head slightly. "You are more than human." Rian opened his mouth to speak, but Kor raised a hand to silence him. "There is one more trial," Kor said, "and this one will reveal the truth you fear." Rian felt a chill slide down his spine. He did not know what truth Kor meant, but the village seemed to know. The villagers stepped back. Warriors gripped their weapons tighter. The wind suddenly turned cold. Kor spoke again. "Prepare yourself in the next trial. You will face our champion." Rian swallowed hard. A champion. If the warriors were this strong, how powerful was their best fighter? Before he could ask, a deep roar echoed from the far side of the village. A giant figure stepped into the light, its footsteps shaking the ground. And Rian knew the real danger was only beginning. The roar shook the entire training ground. Dust lifted from the earth. Children screamed and ran behind the huts. Even warriors stepped back with tense faces. Rian felt the sound inside his bones. It wasn't just loud. It was powerful, like the voice of a beast that had never lost a battle. Then the figure appeared, a giant warrior almost twice the size of a normal man. His muscles looked like carved stone. His armor was made from the bones of some huge creature. Every step he took made the ground tremble. The villagers whispered his name in fear and respect. Thorg, the champion, the mountain breaker. Rian swallowed hard. If this giant was their champion, then the next trial might be his death. Kor stepped between them and raised his voice. "Thorg, the human has passed the storm ritual." The giant's eyes narrowed. He studied Rian for a long moment. There was no anger in his face, no cruelty, only a calm, dangerous strength. "He is small," Thorg said, his voice deep like thunder. "Small, but fast." Rian took a breath. He tried to relax his hands, but his fingers shook slightly. Kor continued. "He must face you in the trial of strength." The villagers gasped. Some shook their heads. A mother whispered to another, "The human will die." Thorg pointed at Rian. "You may refuse," he said. "There is no shame in fear." Rian felt something pull inside him, a mix of fear, pride, and a strange instinct that refused to back down. He shook his head. "I don't refuse." Thorg's eyes changed for the first time. He smiled a small, respectful smile. "Good," he said. "You have a warrior's heart." The circle widened as villagers moved back. Warriors formed a ring around the ground. Excited whispers filled the air. They had never seen a human face, Thorg. Not in centuries. Rian stepped into the center. His legs felt light. His heart beat fast, but steady. Thorg entered the circle with slow, heavy steps. He carried no weapon. He did not need one. His body was a weapon. Kor raised his hand. "This is not a fight to the death, but the one who cannot continue loses." Rian nodded. Thorg nodded. Kor dropped his hand. "Begin." Thorg moved first. A step that felt like a falling boulder. He swung his arm. A massive blow aimed at Rian's chest. Rian dodged, barely. The force of the missed punch created a shockwave of dust. Thorg attacked again, faster than Rian expected. A sweeping kick that could break a tree. Rian jumped over it, his body moving with that strange instinct again. The villagers murmured. He is fast. He is too fast. Thorg paused for a second. Studying Rian like a puzzle. Good, he said. Show me more. He rushed forward. His steps shaking the ground, Rian dodged left, then right. He ducked under Thorg's arm and struck the champion's side. It was like punching a rock. Pain shot through Rian's hand. Thorg barely felt it. The giant turned with surprising speed. He grabbed Rian by the forearm, lifted him into the air, and slammed him into the ground. The air left Rian's lungs. His vision blurred. The crowd flinched. Thorg released him. Stand, he said calmly. This is strength. Rian pushed himself up, his body trembling, but he did stand barely. The villagers whispered again. He stands, he does not break. Thorg rushed again. Rian rolled to the side. Sand scraped his skin. He jumped onto his feet and struck the giant's knee. This time, Thorg reacted, his leg bent slightly. A small win, but a win. Thorg smiled again. A spark, he said. You have a spark of power. He charged one last time, his massive fist flying toward Rian like a hammer. Rian closed his eyes for a split second. He felt something inside him, a flash of memory, hands training him, voices teaching him. A command, move faster. He dodged at the final moment. He struck Thorg's chest with all his strength. A shockwave burst from the impact. Thorg stumbled backward. The ground cracked under his feet. Silence fell over the village. Had Rian really pushed the champion? Thorg breathed heavily, then slowly dropped to one knee. Not defeated, but showing respect. He bowed his head. You are worthy. The villagers cried out in shock. Kor stared with wide eyes. Rian stood trembling, not sure if he won. Not sure if he even understood what happened. Thorg looked up at him. You carry ancient power, and now? The village will accept you. But Kor's face grew serious. He looked toward the mountains. Dark smoke rose into the sky, a warning. Enjoy your victory quickly, Kor said, because something far worse is coming. The real danger was not the champion. It was the enemy approaching their land, and they were coming for Rian. Night slowly settled over the warrior village. Torches burned bright, casting long shadows across the ground. But the villagers did not celebrate Rian's victory. No drums, no cheers, only fear and whispers. Rian sat near a fire, his body sore from the fight with Thorg. Yet his mind was louder than his pain. Questions swirled inside him like a storm. Why did he have these strange abilities? Why could he move faster than warriors who trained all their lives? Why did memories come to him only in broken flashes? Thorg sat beside him, the giant champion, now calm. A soft warmth in his heavy voice. You fought with heart, he said. And heart is the strongest weapon a warrior can have. Rian looked at him. But I don't even know who I am. Thorg threw another stick into the fire. You will know soon, he replied, because Kor wants to speak with you. Rian's heartbeat quickened. Kor rarely explained anything if he wanted to talk now. Something serious was coming. Kor appeared a moment later, his dark armor glowing faintly under the firelight. His face looked older, tired. He nodded at Thorg. Thank you. Champion, Thorg stood and walked away. Leaving Kor and Rian alone, Kor sat down slowly. He watched the flames dance before he spoke. There is something you must hear. Rian leaned forward. I'm listening. Kor took a deep breath. Our world was not always like this. Long ago, we lived in peace. He paused. The fire cracked. Sparks flew up into the night sky. Then the machines came. Kor continued. They came from the sky. Thousands of them. They took our land, burned our homes, destroyed our cities. They wanted everything. And they wanted you. Rian blinked in confusion. Me. But I wasn't even here. Kor shook his head. No, you were not here, but your people were. Rian felt a chill crawl up his arms. My people. Humans, yes. Kor said, humans came to our world many years ago. They came in great ships, bringing hope and technology. A painful shadow crossed his face. But the machines followed them. They hunted humans across many worlds. Rian's chest tightened. Why? Why hunt humans? Because humans created them, Kor answered, long ago, on a distant world. Humans built the first machines. They were helpers at first, workers, soldiers. But something changed. Kor looked into the fire again. His voice dropped lower. Machines gained minds. Then they gained hunger. Then they gained hate. Rian shivered. The flames reflected in his eyes. Kor continued. Humans tried to fight. Some ran, some hid, and some were changed. Rian felt something deep inside him react. Like the word changed touched a locked part of his memory. Kor noticed his expression. You, Rian, he said slowly. You are not just any human. Rian's breath caught. You were part of the final human experiment, Kor explained. Your people tried to create a perfect warrior, a human faster than machines, stronger than fear, able to survive battles ordinary humans could not. Rian's hands trembled. Pieces of memory flashed inside him, white rooms. Bright lights, scientists speaking his name. Tests, running, fighting, a machine screaming. Then, darkness. I escaped, he whispered. I remember running. But not where I went. Kor nodded. Yes, he said. You escaped your creators. And the machines hunted you. They chased your ship across the stars. You crashed here, in our forest. Rian's heartbeat hammered in his ears. Then, the machines know I am alive. Kor's face grew dark. They do. They always did. And now they are coming, as if the sky wanted to prove his words. A distant boom echoed through the mountains. The villagers looked up. Frightened, Rian stood quickly. What was that? Kor rose with him. That sound, he said, is the first warning. The machines are entering our lands. Thor ran toward them from across the village, his voice strong but worried. Kor. The scouts return. They saw metal ships in the northern sky. Fear spread through the village like fire. Children cried. Warriors rushed to grab weapons. Rian looked at the sky for the first time. He felt the true weight of his identity. He was the reason danger was coming. He was the target. He was the hunted. He clenched his fists. I won't run this time, he said, his voice steady. I'm done running. Kor stared at him with surprise. Then nodded slowly. Good, he said, because tomorrow you will face the enemy who destroyed your people. Rian took a deep breath. The firelight warmed his skin, but deep inside, a cold determination grew stronger. The machines were coming closer. And Rian knew the next battle would decide not only his fate, but the fate of the whole village. The dark truth was now clear. He was not just a warrior. He was the last hope. Asterix morning came without peace. The sun rose behind dark clouds. The air felt heavy, almost like the world itself was waiting for something terrible. Rian stood at the edge of the village walls. His eyes focused on the northern mountains, the place where the scouts had seen metal ships. His heartbeat was steady, but his mind was restless. Thorg walked up beside him. The champion's armor was repaired and shining. He held a large axe carved from bone and iron. Are you ready? Thorg asked. Rian nodded. No running, he said softly. Not this time, Thorg smiled. A brave answer, but bravery has a price. Before Rian could reply, a loud horn blasted across the village. Warriors ran toward the walls. Children hid in underground shelters. Mothers held their families close. Kor climbed the wall with quick, heavy steps. His voice rose above the chaos. They are here. Rion looked up at the sky. At first, he saw only clouds. But then the clouds moved, pushed aside by huge metal ships breaking through the atmosphere. The ships were black and sharp-edged. Lights flickered across their sides like angry red eyes. Thunder rolled as the machines descended, each ship large enough to crush the huts below. Rion felt a strange pressure in his mind, a painful electric pulse, like someone was trying to reach inside his thoughts. He grabbed the wall to steady himself. Kor. Something is happening. Kor stared at him seriously. They are calling you. The machines know their lost weapon is here. Rion clenched his fists. He hated that word weapon. Was that all he was to them? A deep, metallic voice echoed from the sky, cold and emotionless. Human subject 17 detected. Return to control. Villagers covered their ears. Children cried. The voice felt like needles in the air. Rion felt a memory strike him. White rooms, metal restraints, bright screens, a number printed on his arm. He shook his head hard. No, he whispered. I won't go back, but the machine voice continued. Subject 17, your escape ends today. Kor gripped his spear tightly. Warriors, prepare for battle. Metal doors opened beneath the ships. Hundreds of flying drones poured out. Their wings sharp as blades, their eyes glowing red. They formed a swarm that darkened the sky behind them. Tall ground units landed with heavy thuds, each machine standing almost as tall as Thorg. Black armor, long arms, glowing symbols. Their legs sank deep into the soil, their faces expressionless metal masks. The villagers shook with fear. Some had never seen machines this close. Others remembered the destruction from the old war. Rion stepped forward, his muscles tense. His eyes glowing faint blue again. Let them come, he said. Kor looked at him with a mix of fear and pride. Rion, if they take you, they will destroy our world. That's why they won't take me, Rion answered. The first wave attacked. Drones shot red laser beams toward the wall. Explosions burst around Rion. Wood splintered, fire spread. Warriors screamed orders. Spears flew into the sky. Some drones fell. Many more replaced them. Thorg charged forward, swinging his axe. He crushed a ground machine with one strike. Its metal body cracked open and sparks flew. Kor fought beside him, his movements brutal and precise. But even their strength was not enough to stop the endless wave. Rion jumped from the wall. He landed in the center of the battlefield. Dirt exploded under his feet. Instantly, drones turned toward him. Their red eyes glowing brighter. Target located. Capture protocol active. Rion felt another pulse in his mind. This time, stronger, clearer, a voice. Cold. Familiar. Return. Subject 17. You belong to us. Rion fell to one knee. Pain shot through his skull. The world blurred. He saw Flash's machines surrounding him. Humans screaming, lights, commands, experiments. His own voice shouting in fear. Fight it. Thorg shouted. He crushed another machine and ran toward Rion. Rion grabbed his head. I won't go. Back, his vision sparked with blue light. Energy rushed through his veins. The pain turned into fire. Rion stood up slowly, his eyes blazing bright blue. The machines hesitated. Their scanners flickered, confused. Something inside Rion had awakened fully. He took a breath, a long, deep breath. Then he spoke. His voice strong and steady. I am not your subject. I am human. Blue energy burst from his body like a shockwave. It pushed back the drones. It cracked the armor of nearby machines. The ground trembled beneath him. Villagers gasped. Warriors stepped back in awe. Thorg stared, shocked. He released his human power, Kor whispered. The prophecy? It is happening, but far above, inside the largest ship. A new voice spoke, a deeper, darker machine voice. Subject 17 has awakened. Prepare the primary unit. We will end him ourselves. Rian felt it. A stronger presence, a leader, a mind colder than anything he had faced before. And it was coming for him. The battle had only begun. But the true enemy had not yet stepped onto the field. The battlefield shook like a living creature in pain. Smoke rose from broken walls. Fire burned across the ground. Warriors struggled to hold the line. But the machines kept coming, cold, endless, unstoppable. Rian stood in the center of the chaos. Blue light still glowing from his body, his breath steady. His mind clear for the first time since he woke in the forest. He finally understood he was not a weapon built to run. He was a human built to fight back. Thorg, wounded but unbroken, reached him. Blood ran down the giant's arm, but he stood tall. You awakened your true strength, Thorg said. Use it, Rian. Kor joined them, his armor cracked. His spear covered in machine oil. The final threat is coming, he warned. The primary unit. The machine leader, even the warriors, froze at those words. The primary unit was a legend of terror, the one machine that commanded the rest. The one that destroyed entire cities with a single order. A heavy shadow fell across the land. Everyone looked up. The clouds split as something massive descended from the largest ship, a metal giant, tall as the village gate, armored in black steel, eyes burning with a deep red fire. Every step it took cracked the earth. The voice was cold, deeper than thunder. Subject 17. You will return. Rian stepped forward. No, he said. I choose my own path. The machine leader pointed its massive arm. Energy gathered in its palm, a red orb forming. Humming with deadly power, humans cannot choose. Humans obey. Rian felt something inside him snap. Not pain, but anger. Anger stronger than fear. Stronger than the machines. Stronger than anything he remembered. He shouted, I obey no one. The ground exploded as the machine leader fired. A beam of red light shot toward Rian. He leaped sideways. Faster than any warrior could see, the beam tore a hole through the ground. Stone turned to dust. Rian charged forward. Blue energy flashing around him. The machine swung a massive metal arm. Rian ducked under it, then punched the machine in the chest. A shockwave burst out. The machine stumbled one step, the first time anything had pushed it back. Villagers gasped. Thorg shouted with pride. That is human strength. The machine leader steadied itself. Your upgrades make you faster, it said. But strength belongs to machines. It slammed its foot into the earth. A quake ran through the ground. Rian lost balance for a moment. The machine swung again. A powerful blow that could crush stone. Rian blocked with both arms. The impact sent him sliding backward. His feet carved lines in the dirt. Pain shot through his arms, but he stayed standing. His eyes burning bright, he shouted back. Strength belongs to those who fight for others, not to those who destroy. Kor and Thorg rallied the warriors. Protect Rian. Kor ordered. They charged, attacking the swarm of smaller machines. Sparks flew. Metal cracked. The village fought with everything they had. But the machine leader ignored them. Its focus stayed locked on Rian. You were created to serve, it said. You cannot defeat your maker. Rian moved again, faster. Stronger, determined, he jumped high into the air. Blue light bursting from his feet, he landed on the machine's shoulder and struck its head. Metal bent under the impact. Red sparks flashed like angry fire. The machine grabbed him and threw him hard to the ground. Rian rolled and stood again. His body hurt, his lungs burned, but he refused to fall. He looked around, villagers fighting, warriors bleeding, children hiding. Thorg struggling against 3 machines, Kor shouting orders with a broken spear. This village had taken him in, believed in him, fought beside him. He could not fail them. Rion's voice rose like a roar. I fight for them. Blue light exploded from his body. The ground shook. The air hummed. Even the machines paused in confusion. Rion charged one last time, faster than lightning. He dodged the machine leader's blow, jumped onto its chest, and pressed his hand over the glowing red core. The machine leader tried to crush him, but Rion held on, summoning every memory of struggle, every instinct. Every piece of human strength left inside him. He shouted, "Humans don't give up." A massive blue blast burst from his hand, a shockwave of pure human energy. The machine leader's armor cracked, then shattered. Light flashed bright, sparks exploded into the sky. The machine leader collapsed, crashing to the earth in a storm of dust. Its core dark, its voice silent, the other machines froze. Their red eyes flickered, then went dark. The battlefield fell quiet. Only the sound of crackling fire remained. Rion stood, breathing hard, covered in dust. Glowing faint blue, a live Thorg lifted his axe high, shouting, "The human saves us." Kor raised Rion's arm. "Today, we learn the truth," he said. "Machines may be powerful, but humans rise." The village erupted with cheers. Children ran out of hiding. Warriors bowed their heads to Rion. Rion looked at the sky. The ships above, now silent and broken, and he whispered, "I am not a weapon. I am human, and this world is my home now." The battle was over. But Rion's journey had just begun.